So welcome back to another episode, and welcome back to some of my secrets. Some of the other things that I do besides video games around here, that are part of the hobby. Now, a couple of years ago, I came out and said that I wore glasses on the show. That I actually wore glasses because I always kept it kind of a secret. I didn't want anybody to know that I was wearing glasses. I don't know why. I felt like, oh my God, everybody's going to think I'm like old because I wear glasses, even though my wife has always worn glasses. But I was like, okay, I'm going to admit it. I wear glasses and I've worn them ever since. And now I can really see things on the show when I'm doing them, which is really good. But I'm going to go through a bunch of things today that I don't think a lot of you guys know. I mean, a couple of years ago, I also did say that I was really into painting miniatures. I was doing a Blood Bowl set and I did 2 different teams and they turned out extraordinarily well. And they were my first professional paint jobs that I'd ever done. And I really took my time and I got the right paints and very therapeutic. I thought it was an amazing thing. So a couple of years ago, I bought Necromunda Underhive. And that's something that I saw in the 90s and I was like, man, I'd really like that. And I love the new set. And so I picked up the new set. Actually, I was able to get it on Craigslist from a guy who was selling it used. And so I started to paint. And I painted my first team, House Goliath. And I was very happy how they turned out. I was like, this is amazing. But I have not gotten around to painting the second team, and that is House Esha. I'm going to get to it. I'm only about a year and a half behind here. Now, something else that's been going on is that I do that painting stuff, right? I do the miniature painting. I love miniatures. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I've always loved that a heck of a lot. So during lockdown, quarantine, COVID times, had a lot of time to spend indoors. And, when I started getting my daughter to sleep on time, I had a bit of time in the evening and I was like, what am I going to do? Where I started to get really, really inspired because I couldn't play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends anymore, like in the same room. Yes, you can play online, but I really like everybody around that table. It makes it more tangible for me. I'm old school 80s that way. I like everybody around the table playing D&D, seeing the roles, having a bit of fun. So when that was taken away from me, I was like, man, this really kind of sucks. But I started doing something else, with my imagination to fill in that time. And I started to create little miniature sets. And so I was buying these things and by Warlock here. And they're like little miniature figurines and sets and stuff like that. And furniture. And also dungeon tiles, things like this. And so what I would do in an evening is I would start to assemble them, and then I would get my special lights that I have, and I would start lighting them and taking photographs and, doing something that you would see in a dungeon magazine from the 1980s. And I started to really enjoy this, and I started to get really addicted to it. And definitely with the little, with the different lighting setups I was getting, it was turning out really good. And so on a night I would do that, and I found it very, very therapeutic. I found it myself. It was a nice little bit of escapism, and it was very different to do. And then I saw a Japanese Dungeons and Dragons magazine from the 80s, from 1989, a time that it's very special to me. And I saw this magazine and I was like, I love the cover. I love the cover so much. There was so much imagination going on there. They were doing the same thing back then, taking photographs of miniatures, and that was on the front cover of this magazine. So what I decided to do, and this is how unusual I can be at times, I cut out that picture and I started to put my own pictures in there, so making it like a Japanese Dungeons and Dragons magazine from 1989, but with my pictures that I took of my miniatures and with my lighting. And oh my God, it just fit right in. It felt like it was meant to be. And I changed the colors of the covers so it made them all different and stuff like that. And I started to really get addicted to doing that. There was no reason for any of this. There was no financial gain or anything like that. It was pure self-fulfillment, and I enjoyed it. And it gave me something to pass the time during the quarantine lockdown phase, which is still pretty much going on now. And it kind of fulfilled that Dungeons and Dragons experience that I couldn't have with my friends at the moment. But I really enjoyed setting up all the miniatures because I have a whole bunch of WizKids miniatures. I have tons of them. And so I started using them in different scenarios and different pictures. And man, I really enjoyed it, creating my own bar taverns. It was awesome. So I really had a good time with that. That's something that helped me pass the time. Now my next thing, some of you guys know that I do this and some of you guys do not. And that is, I do art. I've done art since I was a little kid, all the way up till I was 28 years old. I went to Vancouver Film School. I did comic books. I did TV commercials. I did animation. I did a lot of stuff. And then I got to 28 years old and I did something really strange. I just stopped doing art. I stopped drawing. I stopped doing anything like that. And I did that every day religiously. It was my life. All I wanted to do was be an artist and to draw and to do comic books and things like that. And all of a sudden, you know, you get older and you end up in different career paths. And I kind of left art behind until a few years ago. Yeah, I know, a couple of years ago, I was like, I have got to get back into art. I felt the pull after so many years to start drawing again and to get back into it. And so I did. So I did a little phase of drawings to kind of get back into it. I used Copic markers. I don't know if any of you guys know Copic markers right here. They're Japanese markers. I bought a bunch of them and I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to jump right back into it. And here we go. So I'm going to show you guys some of my artwork that I did a couple of years ago up till now. So this is a little piece it's a Metroid piece here. And I'll just put that right there so it focuses really nice. And there's Samus being defeated by a Metroid in a weird alien underground cave. And I just was having a bit of fun. And I just do these for myself, not for any other reason. It was just for that reason I enjoyed it. And then, I think I showed this before, when Link's Awakening was coming out, I got really kind of inspired and I wanted to do a different take on a classic picture of Link coming up to the island. And so I did this one of him coming up at night. And I did kind of a night theme and stuff like this. Again, it's just me having a bit of fun, getting creative, right? That's why I was doing these. And then here's one. The Ninja Warriors had returned once again, the Ninja Saviors. And so I started to draw, and this is the result. I was just having a lot of fun. I was really enjoying playing with these Japanese markers. They're so awesome to use. I used to color all the time with markers when I was a kid, but using these kind of markers now is incredible, especially with the right kind of cardboard paper. So had a bit of fun with that. And then, oh my God, look at this. Fire Emblem, 3 houses. I did this right here. We all know her. She's one of my favorite characters in the game. And so had a lot of fun getting back to drawing. And then here's something from Phantasy Star 2. From Phantasy Star 2, the character of Rolf. Does everybody remember him? I did my own take. I have my own kind of anime style I kind of do. So I kind of just drew him up and did him in my own style and had a little bit of fun there. Then I got a little bit of experimental. I was like, you know, I want to do kind of like use these felts in kind of a watercolory sort of way. And so I thought, okay, I'll just experiment. And it's just me experimenting, right? Not saying that any of this artwork is the best artwork ever. It's just my artwork and me having a bit of fun, as I said. And so I did a little ease picture, a little kind of ease watercolory style of picture there, ease, off the ground and stuff like that. So had a lot of fun, and I've done a lot more art, a lot more sketches. I have a big sketchbook where I just sketch all of the time. And so I've had a lot of fun getting back into art. I've really enjoyed that, and I'm going to continue on. I have what I'm going to call the 2021 collection that I'm going to start. For me, this is just for me. I have a whole bunch of different like video game artwork that I want to do, that I've been dreaming about for a long time, and I want to do my take on some classic series and characters and all that. And you know what? I've even played with the idea that one day I may sell my original artwork. I may do that. I've been talking about it for a couple of years. I may set that up one day. I'll let you guys know if anybody's interested in any of this artwork in the future. I'll let you know if I decide to put it up for auction or something like that. Because that's kind of the way it is. I really enjoyed this. If anybody else would enjoy it, that'd be awesome, because that's really what art is about. It's like you create, and if other people enjoy, that's really where it's at. So I've been doing the artwork, and I've really enjoyed that. Now, here's the strangest thing ever. something that I never thought that I would be in a million years. In a strange sense of the way, I became a music producer. Like, everyone's like, what? Even I'm like, what? So, the funny thing is, on YouTube, there's a guy called Luke Jansen. And I didn't know him personally or anything like that. He did a Phantasy Star 2 remix. So he took all the original Phantasy Star 2 music and kind of blended it all together. And it is awesome. Check it out. Phantasy Star 2 remix. Type that in. You'll get it. I would be listening to this music every single day. And I still think it's the best remix music of original Genesis music that I've ever heard in my life. And obviously I like Phantasy Star 2 so very much. And this guy's, music really resonated with me. I would get shivers listening to it. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. So I was like, who is this person? So I went and checked them out on their website and stuff like that. And I saw that they will, produce, create music for you for a certain kind of price. And I was like, oh, really? Like, that's kind of cool. I would like a couple of songs, right? I can't afford a lot of songs, but I'd like a couple of songs. So I got in contact with him. This is about a year and a half ago, maybe now. And I said, hey, Luke, I'm really a big fan, and I would love it if you could take my favorite game, one of my favorite games of all time, Phantasy Star, and take some songs, like four songs, and meld them into one medley. And he's like, yeah, I think I can do that. And so he went off to do it. And he came back, and I tell you, leaving this world, one day that I will, this music will be left behind, and my daughter can listen to it and all that. And Luke did such an amazing job with this music. And I'll put a link below to his Phantasy Star 1 remix he did for me, right? I'll put a link down below. It's free, it's on YouTube, you get to listen to it. That's why I produced it, so other people could listen to his amazing music and his take on the classic Phantasy Star 1 music. And I mean, if you listen to his music, you're like, this guy should be doing the remix music for every single video game in history. And I tell you, if there's any video game companies out there, hire this man. He is the best of the best of the best. I have never heard somebody do remix music like him from classic music. So if you want to redo an old game into a new game, get this guy. I mean, I really wish he did the Phantasy Star 1, the remake they did for PS2. Remember that? I didn't like that game too much, and I didn't like the music. But his take on the music would have brought it to a different level. And I just want to thank Luke for taking the time, and he gave me a really good deal on the music. And boy, what it's all about is giving back to everybody else. Giving everybody else this music. This music wasn't created for Luke. It wasn't created for me. It was created for all of you guys. That's why I did it, something to live on. And so anybody who loved that original Phantasy Star music could go and listen to this music and go, wow, this music is for me. And that's what it's supposed to imply. And really incredible stuff. So it's been a lot of fun today, guys, talking about some things that I never get a chance to. I've always thought about creating a second channel where I can kind of talk about Dungeons and Dragons and art and anime and stuff like that, but I just don't think at my time now that I have the energy to handle the video game show and that. And that's why I do these kind of special episodes to talk about these certain things, because I want to talk about all of them. And I got a chance to talk about, my miniature painting, to my miniature building, to, my Necromunda teams, to showing some of my art, it's an amazing thing for me, because when I was a younger guy doing art, I'd draw, I'd show my parents or a friend. That's only the people who would see it. So it's really nice to be able to share my arts with you, and now to share this beautiful music that Luke has created for us all. And I mean, what a wonderful thing. So I've really enjoyed doing this episode today, guys. So anyways, guys, until next time.